Yo, okay, there we go. And we're back with the second podcast of the day. This is the House of Business Podcast 2.0. It's your host, Caleb Thompson. This is the place where we give you the knowledge and the tools to execute your dreams and your visions. When I originally started this podcast, it was for individuals that wanted to leave the 9 to 5 and go into entrepreneurship. They really didn't know what to do to go into entrepreneurship. So that's why we started this podcast, man. You can go back and watch prior episodes. And what we basically talk about, we start off talking about the mindset shift or the transition from going to thinking like a worker to thinking like a leader or a boss of someone. So it has to be a transition within the mind. And how does that happen? That happens with you gaining knowledge. The more knowledge that you gain about entrepreneurship, the more knowledge that you gain about your certain business market or certain, aspects of your business. You run a coffee shop. The more you know about being a barista, the more you know about the financial aspect of the company, the more that you know about like your profit and loss statements, you know about advertising, marketing, a little bit about everything in the business. It makes you, it helps to transition you from someone who's a worker to someone that's in a place of leadership. But there's a lot of other factors as well that's tailored to that, the company culture, creating a company culture that you like. When you go into a tattoo shop, there's a certain company culture, there's a certain environment that company culture was built on. You know, you go into a biker bar, you go to a dance studio, a ballet dance studio. There's a certain vibe or company culture that's tailored to the services or products of that company. So you're going to have to learn how to align your vision for your company culture to the products and services that you sell. So basically, what we're going to be what we're going to talk about today is surviving your first year in business. So I'm going to give you a little tip to help you to fund your dreams. So just say you're past the point where you know exactly what you want to do. Some people like making candles. I was just I was just sitting here the other day and just said, man, just looking at certain things. And I said, man, you know what? I'm going to watch a video on how to make candles at home. Now I know how to make candles at home. Will I ever make them? Probably not. You know, I don't want to really have to go through getting the burner and buying the blocks of wax and the scents. And, I could if I wanted to buying the labels. I have enough going on, but I could, you know what I mean? But it was just something that I just was curious about learning how a candle was made and how you can make them at home. And there's people that make 7 figures off candle business. So yeah, there's people that make large amounts of capital just from having a candle business. But the thing is this. Well, I'm gonna give first what I want to do is I'm gonna give you a cheat code on how to get your business funded, how to get a loan to start your physical location. This is what you want to do. So once you get an LLC, or go to rs.gov, file you a LLC for free. You'll get that EIN number. And once you get that EIN number, you're going to go and open up a business checking account. The business checking account doesn't have to be Bank of America. It doesn't have to be one of these big predominant banks. It could be something. I started my business checking account with Novo. Novo Banking is a bank that's tied to a federal offshore bank called Middlesex Federal Savings, but it's basically started off as like a little debit card business bank card. So it doesn't have to be something big like Bank of America or Chase. You don't really have to have one of these prestigious banks. So you just go on rs.gov, say you want to sell candles. You just call Candle and Sons or Candle and Queens, whatever you want to, whatever you want to call it, you know what I mean. And then you'll put that name inside of the IRS database, and they will check and see if anyone has that name in the state of New York or wherever you want to register your company with. If no one has that name, they'll allow for you to use that name to get a LLC. Once you register that company with the state of New York, they will give you a EIN number. EIN number is basically a taxpayer ID number. You can use it for multiple purposes. We'll do that on another episode on ways you can use an EIN number to get a vehicle. You want to get vehicles. You don't have anything in your name. You can also get your home in your company's name. You can get a vehicle in your company's name, and you won't have to run your personal credit. But we'll talk about that another time, how to acquire a vehicle using your EIN, your LLC. So but how to get your physical location. So once you start this company, for the first 3 to 6 months, you want to keep your regular job. You want to keep your regular job, and all your paychecks that you get from that regular job, you want to move your direct deposit from that bank to your business bank account. So for the first 3 to 6 months, all of your paychecks need to go into your business bank account so it can have some type of paper trail or visible proof that this bank account is starting to generate capital, even if it's from a direct deposit. And then by 3 to 6 months, you should have enough money in that bank account where they'll give you a $20,000, $50,000, $100,000 loan, because they see it's generating capital, and they really don't know it's just you working your job and sending all your paychecks to that business bank account. You basically just switch your direct deposit information, and they'll look at that and they say, oh, even if you do spend some of that money on expenses, they still want to see that there's money coming into that account. So for the next 3 to 6 months, don't quit your job once you start a business. You can still hustle on the side and start to prep and make you a business plan, maybe get you some inventory or save up or whatever you need to do. But at the same time, you need to switch all of your finances from your job to that business bank account for the next 3 to 6 months to show that that bank account is starting to generate some type of capital. And then you need to go back to the bank for the loan. You get a $50,000 loan, $100,000 loan. And that can help you to start your brick and mortar business, or just buy inventory and sell out of your home. If you sell, if you do most of your business from home, you can write off your home, your rent. You can write off certain portions of your rent. You can get certain deductibles by using your home as a home office. If you do a certain percentage of 60% or so much, I work from home. I write all my rent off on as this is a business office. So just like this is a business office, just like this is a home office, this is getting written off. The rent, portions of the rent, whether I pay it or not, is getting written off. You know what I mean? It's a deductible. If I buy pens, if I buy clothes, I don't care if I buy a brand new shirt from Salvation Army or a brand new shirt from Macy's. I keep the receipt. You know why? Because I'm going to write it off as a business expense, because I may have to have a meeting and I need to be presentable. So that is working. So everything that I purchase is a deductible. Shoes, I need to be presentable when I have meetings online, even though, well, they may not be able to see the shoes. Well, I may have some type of meeting where I go and get coffee and I might run into a potential client. So I need to be presentable. So all those things are deductibles. But what we want to talk about is surviving your first year in business. I just want to give you guys those tips. Probably next week, we'll talk about acquiring a vehicle, kind of using that same method, that 3 to 6 month direct deposit switch with your regular job, 3 to 6 months before you get that big chunk of change to start your business. So we want to talk about surviving the first year. So I learned to stay consistent even when the results are slow. So this is how you're going to survive. So excuse me. How you're going to survive is let me put it like this. Just because you didn't like a certain type of food that you ate that day doesn't mean that you're going to starve the rest of your life. You just know, I just hate food. You know what I mean? You needed to survive. So that's the same thing with consistency when it comes to a business. You still need to operate the business. You still need to move forward, even though things are slow, for the simple fact that just because something doesn't work out, just because you didn't get the right ingredients on the pizza you ordered, doesn't mean you're still not going to eat it. So you're still, and next time you'll make sure that you'll come up with certain questions and certain things that you want to ask to make sure you get that result that you are requesting, or that result that you're looking forward to. So, okay, if I order a pizza or something and I get the pizza, okay, they delivered it. If some things are wrong on the pizza, I'm hungry. I've been waiting on this thing for 45 minutes. I'm still going to eat it, but just know that now that I know that they're prone to make mistakes and things are prone to happen, I'm not going to starve, because I'm going to pick off the pineapples. I'm going to pick off the jalapenos, the things that I didn't order, but I'm still going to eat it. I'm still going to move forward. I'm still going to make sure that things go. But now I have the information I need to understand that, every time I order from this place, they're prone to make mistakes. So I need to come up with some type of precautions or some questions that I need to answer and say, okay, man, I really like your style a pizza, but for the last, two orders, there's been some mix ups, and I want to come up with some questions. Say, is it right? Will it be here at a certain time? Make sure, leave a small note. Make sure that you guys get it exactly how I want it. You know what I mean? So you will start to come up with things that can help you to order a pizza correctly, knowing that the manufacturer or the person who's you're ordering from is going to make a mistake, or they're prone to make a mistake due to just human error. And that's the same thing with running a company. You got to understand that things are not going to go always how you want them to go. There's going to be some human error. There's going to be some days where you may get a package wrong. You may you may forget to order certain things or send off certain packages. Certain things may happen to the point where you cannot let that get you down. There are going to be some mistakes. You need to learn from those mistakes. You need to put together business operational systems to make sure that those mistakes will not happen again. But will they probably happen again? Yes. You cannot control everything. You can start off with a great day. You can start off with a lot of orders coming in and things going okay, and then you can have that one customer out of nowhere. You packaged everything right, but maybe the FedEx guy, the UPS guy squished the package and messed up the painting or messed up certain products, and now you have to, it's not even your fault, but certain things are going to happen where you cannot make everyone happy. So you have to continue to be consistent even when those things happen. Okay, so there were moments when progress felt slow, but I kept on showing up anyways. You can't quit just because the results aren't immediate. If you want, I'm not gonna say that, but I'm about to say you want some fast money. You know what I mean? There's certain aspects of your morality and your and your whatever, you're going to have to compromise, but I don't care what it is, but you don't want to have to go that route. When you're building something, you want to make sure the foundation is sturdy. You want to make sure that what you're building will last, and you will be able to pass it on to the next generation. I'm gonna leave this quote with you. If you do the hard things now, you'll live an easy life later. If you do the easy things now, basically saying you don't want to have any struggle. You want everything quick. You want everything like a microwave meal. You know what I mean? You're gonna you can get the easy way now. You can get the fast money now. You can get quick results. You can go over the process and get the things you want. You can get the job that you can work at for 6 months to a year till you get tired, get a job hop. Or you can go through the hard thing now, start to really understand emotional intelligence, really start to understand what it takes to be a leader or be a boss, or what it really takes to be someone that people look up to, running a company. And when I say that, that doesn't mean just placing yourself in some high rank position and saying, well, I own an ice cream truck, I'm the boss. No, I'm not basically saying that. What I am saying is that you go through the shadow work of really being able to understand that you hold the responsibility of making sure people are paid, to make sure that they can feed their families. It's really deeper than just giving commands and telling people what to do, and you're walking around with your nose stuck in the air. You know what I mean? There's more of a responsibility that you have to do. You have to do some shadow work. You have to understand emotional intelligence. You have to understand a person as if they were late for work because they couldn't get their son on the bus, but you basically want to fire them, or you want to talk to them crazy. But did you know before you started this company, you was in that position where you couldn't, you know what I mean? You couldn't get your son to school on time. You missed the bus, things like that. You almost got fired. You were late for work the third time. So you have to still take that experience into when you transition to have your own company. That doesn't mean be a pushover, but what that does mean is you have to understand your employees as well. So consistency during difficult seasons is what builds long-term success. You're never going to meet one millionaire that never had to go through some type of heartache, pain, setback, betrayal to be in that position. And I don't even care if someone took an easy route and betrayed everyone they ever came across to get into a position of a millionaire. there's everything every the law of reciprocity, that everything that they are is what they're going to attract. So even though they have the money, they might come across people who's going to pretend they love them to milk it from them, and they won't be able to discern it. It doesn't always come back with violence. It doesn't always come back with sadness or you losing someone you love. Sometimes your karma comes back with someone manipulating you into thinking they love you and milking you dry. You know what I'm saying? Or doing certain things to silently or covertly sabotage your life, after you've done it. So you can take the easy route, but there's always the law of reciprocity. There's always the law of attraction. What you are is what you will attract. So if you do the hard things now, if you take a year out of your life to take 1 hour a day for the next year and build towards something you want, by next year, people are going to look at you and you're going to think you're the same person. You're going to think, but people are going to know there's something different about you just by you taking 1 hour out of your day. And you say, you know what? I'm going to learn about how to fix my credit. Even if I don't have the money right now, even if I don't know where to go, you can talk to Lexington law firm. That's a good place that will fix credit. But even if I don't know exactly where to go, I want to at least take the first step. The next 6 months, you can pay a law firm $5 a month, or pay $5 or $10 a month, and your credit score will go up to the point where you can go and get a credit card. As long as you stay disciplined, you can go get a credit card with a $20,000 limit and start to take $5,000, learn another skill. You know what I mean? To take that and invest into yourself and learn another skill, or learn how to. Man, I'm telling you, so much free knowledge out there. Just by me watching that candle video, I might just start making candles. You know what I mean? Slanging candles. You know what I'm saying? But there's so much information. There's so many things to do that there is no way possible that you cannot succeed. You know what I mean? I made so many companies, and a lot of those companies, probably 17 of those companies, didn't even take off. They didn't even gain any traction, even with the massive amount of marketing that I was doing. But the truth is, I kept going, and who's to say, you know what I mean? I keep on marketing, and all it takes, listen, your job is to build the person that will build the people that will build the company. Your job is to build yourself to the point where you have so much knowledge, information, and experience, and that you are not insecure. You know why a lot of companies fail? A lot of companies don't fail because it's a bad company or they have a bad target market. A lot of companies fail within the first years because the person who was in control or the leader of that company or the CEO of that company is so insecure that everything that they've learned, they're scared to pour it into another individual, thinking that person is going to outshine them, when they really need to understand that everything I've learned, I need to pour it into team development, pour it into my employees. And listen to this. You pour into yourself enough to pour into your employees, and then your employees takes that information and they pour into the company, and that company is what gains capital to make sure that you're paid, for you to pay them, for them to give discounts or promos for the company. So it's like an evolving cycle, but never get to the point where you finally make it to a place of leadership and you feel like this person's going to outlearn me. If you're ever in a place of leadership, you need to be able to lead people who are smarter than you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you may not know, you might not be the best guy in sales, but at least you know how to encourage people when they're feeling down. You still can have leadership qualities without having to be the smartest person in the room. The best leadership quality is to encourage this person to reach their full potential. Just being able to encourage a person to hit that next mark in their life or push them, it's more of a leadership quality than you being intimidated by the intellect of a person that's helping you to build your own company. I've seen plenty of people that don't survive their first year in business because once they learn a skill set or once they learn certain things, they hire people, and then the next time that they come into their company, the person that they train is running the company basically by themselves. So they feel like, okay, if this person takes over the company, I feel like I have nothing to do. You know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to break away, allow them to run the company. Now that you've bought back your time, you spent time to pour into someone so that you can buy that time back. I'm paying you to run this company and giving you all the tools, the knowledge, and the information, and the resources you need to make sure that you can be the best at this job, so I can replace myself, so I can probably go into other investments. You know what I mean? Don't get so don't get pushed. Don't train someone to buy back your time, and then you're intimidated and you're mad because who do they think they are trying to run my company? That's what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to train someone to replace yourself so that you can have enough time to build the vision of the company. If you want to expand, if you don't want to expand that particular company, then you can go into other investments. You can start to learn about ETFs. You can start to learn about certain stocks. You can start to learn about tax lien, tax deed investing. You can go into real estate. You can go into building another company. Maybe there's something else that you want to knock off your bucket list. You know what I mean? Now that you have someone that's running a company that you really took the time out to thoroughly train and give them every detail and help push them to their full potential where you don't have to be there. Don't feel like you're abandoning the company or people are not looking up to you like a leader. You know what I mean? Still pop in, still give encouragement. Still, you do not have to be the smartest tool in the shed to be able to be encouraging or to help others on your team reach their full potential. You need to learn how to lead people that's smarter than you and people that are gifted and talented. And those people are the people that's going to help build the company. So don't be intimidated by the people who were sent to you to help build your company. So, you know what I mean? That's how a lot of companies don't make it. Number two, I learned to manage pressure, finances, and uncertainty. Uncertainty is a big one, man. You can just think of the Waffle House, man. Everything could be going smooth, and someone just comes in and slang 2:00 in the morning, slang a waffle at another customer because he's drunk, and then now there's a big brawl that you got to break up. You don't have time to call the police. I used to work at the Waffle House when I was younger, and I used to work overnights, man. You have some. Man, you see some of the craziest things that you've ever seen. You don't have time to call the police, but by that time, by the time you call the police, the store is tore up. You've lost inventory. They've knocked over forks. You know what I mean? Half the straws that was sitting on the table, they're all wet. So you lose that. You lose that in inventory. That's a waste. You have to write that off as waste. So just being able to own one of those franchises or work for one of those franchises just basically gives you an outlook on all the things that you're going to probably miss or mess up or things. So you have to learn to manage pressure and finances and uncertainty. And how do you do that? Everything always reverts back to your own personal life. If you can't handle pressure in your own life, now I'm talking about your own personal pressure. Now I'm not talking about someone intentionally trying to put pressure on you because and this could be anybody. This could be a spouse, a friend. Some people just come around, dump all their trauma and their pressure off on you and all that. And then they walk away free as a bird. And they leave you with trying to figure out a solution for their problems when they don't want the solution. They just want to be able to pour all that on you. You know what I mean? Some people that you talk to, they say they just want people to listen. Okay, some people want you to listen and they already have a solution of what they believe that they should do, but they just want to vent. But some people have no solution and they don't want a solution and they just go through life picking up baggage and dropping it on other people. You need to understand the difference. If somebody comes around, they always have a problem, and then you try to give them a solution to the problem and they don't want the solution. They're telling you, okay, all right. And then it's just still going to do it. Quit wasting your breath, quit wasting your time. You have to really understand that either I'm going to be here to support this person because they need someone to vent to, or I'm going to understand and set my mind when I know this person is coming over. I'm going to understand that, I'm going to tell them, hey, there's nothing I can do for you. Every time that I try to help you or give you some advice, you fought against the advice. So if you need somebody to talk to, you know what I mean? I may be able to listen to you, but I'm not going to let you unload all your negativity on me. And then once you leave and you're light as a feather. And then I'm sitting there and I'm going to have to deal with the energy from all that trauma and that drama that you picked up throughout the day. And at the end of the day, you come and just throw it off on me. So you have to really protect your space, your peace, and things of that sort as well. But you do need to learn how to manage pressure, your finances, and uncertainty. Uncertainty is the major one, the best one, because things will happen out of nowhere. Man, if I had a list of things to tell you that happen out of nowhere, everything could be hunky dory, and the next second, you know what I mean. You know what I mean. You're dodging bullets, so you just never know anything will happen. I mean that metaphorically, but you just never know. So managing cash flow, expenses, and uncertainty becomes a part of the journey. You won't always have all the answers, but you still will have to make decisions to move forward. You're not going to know what to do. Don't you know that there's mothers out there, their first time having a kid, even if they had a little bit of help from their mother, first time they had a kid, they didn't know all the answers. But you know what? They still didn't give the child away. They didn't know all the answers, but you know what? They they still did their best as a mother. They still, there's fathers out there that they may have slipped up, had a kid, but even though they may not have the finances, then maybe they're kind of struggling on their own, but they're still there picking the kid up. They're still there trying to be in that child's life, whether it's through a FaceTime or maybe whatever. So you are not going to have all the answers, but what I'm saying is just show up, just do what you can do. Don't never compare your business or your life to someone else's. Do what you have the capacity to do, and then with doing that, there's a spiritual aspect of appreciation and gratitude while you just showing up authentically yourself, that the world, the universe will start to reap. You will start to reap blessings that way, not because you're doing this, and I'm not saying it's based on performance, but just by the intention of your heart, the intention of your mind to say that I'm just going to do what I can. I'm not trying to do this or do. I'm just going to do what I can, and whatever I do, I need to be satisfied with that. I need to be okay with that, and with doing that, with you reaching that frequency of authenticity, understanding that this is my capacity and I'm going to do the best that I can do today, and then whatever happens. That is the highest form of energy. So the highest form of consciousness, or the highest energetic level that a human being can hit is not unconditional love. You can have all the unconditional love that you want to have, but that, according to scientists, you can look this up. What is the highest frequency within the human being? The highest frequency a human being can reach, or consciousness, or the highest frequency. And the highest frequency within this universe or within this planet is authenticity. It's not unconditional love. You can love someone all you want to and still be fake. You know what I'm saying? So, but authenticity is what opens doors and helps you to vibrate at the highest level energetically, is when you just be real. Just tell people no, man. You know what I mean? Tell you be okay with what you can handle and what you can manage, and be okay with that. So you won't always have times that have all the answers, like I just said, but you will still have to make decisions to move forward. So, you know what I mean? There's a lot of things that I want to do every day that I just don't have the time. I just don't have the capacity. I just don't have the energy to do it. Or I would do it. Sometimes I would sit there and I would probably work all day, but I still don't get things accomplished that I really want to get accomplished. Things that I probably had on the back burner for the last 2 months. And then I finally get a little bit of time where I feel like doing it and I get a lot of work done, but I still don't get done the things that I've really needed to get done, or really wanted to get done, for the simple fact that I feel like I'm kind of behind on catching up on some things that I allowed to slip through the cracks, or some things that are necessities get in the way of that. So talk point number 3 is I shift from just having an idea to becoming a business owner. Once again, if you're just not tuning in, this is the House of Business Podcast 2.0. This is your host, Caleb Thompson. We're coming live from New York City. Today, we are discussing surviving your first year in business. Now, we are talking about business, but we do want to get down to the lowest denominator, and that is your personal self. Moving in authenticity, doing what you have to do as being a person that starts to acquire or cultivate the capacity to be able to run a business. You cannot, I'm gonna tell you, I grew up in the military. I grew up on a military base. When I hit a certain age, because my mom had so many kids, that my oldest brother, that was an E5 staff sergeant, so he adopted me. So I always stayed around the military. But my brother, he went into the military. Certain family members was always in the military. So my brother, when I hit a certain age, I went to Killeen, Texas. I stayed on the Army base in Killeen, Texas, and stayed other Army bases while growing up in other places. But with him, once he got of age and got to a point where he got married and things like that and had a family, I got to a certain age and I stayed on the Army base with him. But one thing he told me, he said, man, and I was at school, I was young. High school was was my senior year. I used to leave, sneak out, go smoke and things like that. But one thing he told me when he called me was he used to make me do these up downs and sound out down, up, 1, down, up, 2. So he used to make me do all these crazy military exercises when I used to get in trouble. But one thing he told me, he said, how do you expect for me I get respect from grown men who are trained soldiers. I have a group of over 300 men that look up to me and respect me. You know what I mean? As being their sergeant, as being someone that they respect, that they don't talk back. But I got my own brother in my home, my household, where it steams and it starts from at home. You know, he said, by you not respecting me or not giving me the respect due that I'm due within my own household. How do I expect all these men that has families and that I have to make sure they're on time for PT and these guys that respect me as their sergeant. And then I have my brother here that's disrespect. So that really didn't stand out with me until later on in life when I understand it all starts at home. You need to have your home under control. You need to have your own personal routines and your own personal life and your goals and your things align with what you want to become before you go and try to control someone else's life. You know, before you try to be responsible for someone else. Now, I'm not saying just probably having a kid, but what I'm saying, before you get to a point where you feel like you need to have the power to control and manipulate someone else's life, you need to step back and really understand, what do I need to do in my life to make sure that I can move forward? What do I need to do in my life to rekindle that bond with my daughter or my son? What do I need to do in my life to make sure I start to get back in alignment? I don't care if it's just get up every morning and shaving, getting up every morning and showering. I don't care what I do. Before I leave this house, I'm gonna make sure I shave my face. Before I leave this house, I'm gonna make sure that I'm something. What can you do to, because when you look good, you feel good. You know what I mean? What can you do to get yourself back into that mode before those bad things happen to you, before that uncertainty, before that financial crisis hit, when you're walking around, you look good, you smell good, Stella need to get a groove back. You know what I mean? You need to get your, you know what I mean? You need to get your Mac back. So what I'm saying is, what are some little things that can give you back that umph in your life, from shaving, from I don't care if you wake up every morning and you eating regular pancakes, sprinkle some cinnamon and throw some strawberries in there and act like you at the best diner in Manhattan. I don't care. Start to do things that's going to give you that experience. That's going to help you to understand that you have the capacity and you deserve to live a good life. And start to figure the little things out, little routines, things that make you feel good, things that make you look good and feel good about yourself, and start to do those things. And then that, who you are as a person, that's who you will bring to build that business. So, but number three, like I said, I shift from having an ideal to becoming a business owner. I had to improve my mindset, communication, and leadership skills. You can't approach a business casually if you want to survive. You can just can't just go in there. You know what I mean? You can't go in there playing like my brother used to say. You just go in there diddly daddling. You can't go in there just diddly daddling like everything is going to fall in place. You do need to have some type of confines or structures and systems that you have set in place that you want to follow to make sure you can succeed. I don't care if you are a poker player. Don't you know, if a guy's a poker player, he has some type of, before he goes into the casino to try to win some money, you're a professional poker player, he already has a strategy. He already understands that I'm going to keep my face a certain way. I'm going to have a strategy and a understanding on how to read the face of other people's. I'm going to learn about body language. There's a certain strategy that a professional poker player goes into. He just don't walk into the casino, the Hard Rock, and try to win $2.6 million off playing poker. He has to have a strategy and that he comes with, that he has developed in order to make sure that he has a better chance at, a higher chance at winning that type of money. You know what I mean? So the first year changes you because it forces you to grow, become resilient and adaptable. And I always tell people, man, your business is your baby, man. As soon as you have a child and you've never had a child before, it forces you to grow. It forces you to do things that you just wouldn't do. Every time you add something to your life, you have to make room for it. You have to make room. Every time you add something to your life, things change. Every time something comes into your life, you're going to grow and something is going to change. If I just out of the blue bought a vehicle, guess what's going to change? Now I need to create a budget to make sure I have gas money. Now I need to create a budget just in case anything happens to the car and it needs to be maintenance. So every time you add something to your life, you're going to need to grow in some area or need to move some things around. You get a brand new puppy today, guess what? Somebody's going to have to buy dog food. Somebody's going to have to get some puppy pads. Every time you add something to your life, there needs to be a strategy or some type of system put in place to make sure that you can maintain what you add to your life. So, and that's the same way with the business. Once you add a business to your life, you're going to have to come up with the system, or you're going to have to come up with a way to expand your capacity to make sure that you can not only obtain it, but maintain it and then also create ways to retain certain things. So not only just obtaining the company or attaining the name of the company, but maintaining it as well over a long period of time. So this is the House of Business Podcast 2.0. This is your host, Caleb Thompson. This is a place to give you the knowledge and the tools to execute your dreams and visions. Coming live from New York City. We will see you guys back here next Saturday, 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Peace.